Coming up on Mountain News at 6, one person is dead and several others hurt after a crash in Whitley County. And as we get closer to Election Day, we hear from both candidates for governor as they spar about public safety policy.
Plus, we are looking soggy and chilly for this weekend. Those details on the way as Mountain News at 6 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
A Southern Kentucky woman is dead and multiple others, including children, were hurt in a head-on crash last night. It happened on Kentucky 92 west of Williamsburg. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to the coroner and state police about the violent crash that resulted in first responders from 3 counties working the scene.
It was about 8:30 Thursday night when 2 cars collided head-on Kentucky 92 about a mile west of Williamsburg. 41-year-old Marlena Terry was riding in the front seat of a Kia driven by 31-year-old Tyler Hardison when police say a Ford Fusion driven by a teenager crossed the center line. Marlena Terry is from Stearns in McCreary County.
She was traveling and using Highway 92 West to travel back home.
Hardison was injured, and he, along with 2 children in the back seat, were airlifted out to a Tennessee hospital. 4 teenagers in the Ford Fusion were also taken to various hospitals. Multiple first responders from Whitley, McCreary, and Knox counties were called in to help.
Working to extricate other people from vehicles. There were numerous helicopters being flown in. The landing LZ at the water park that were taking patients.
Kentucky State Police are still investigating the crash. We are told that toxicology tests are pending on both drivers. One of the teenagers is said to be in critical but stable condition at UT Hospital. Police say all the others have what is described as non-life-threatening injuries. It was a very difficult situation for all involved.
Whether they're the witnesses that witnessed the accident or the first responders, it's definitely trying on not only mental health as well as physical health.
The crash shut down Kentucky 92 West for several hours Thursday night. In Whitley County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Along with numerous EMS agencies, the Whitley County Sheriff's Office, Williamsburg Police, and others responded to the crash scene. A Wayne County man is behind bars after leading Monticello police on a chase. It happened around midnight. Officers with Monticello PD noticed 43-year-old Justin Brake driving at excessive speeds in his car on North Main Street. Brake led the officers through multiple streets before eventually stopping in the middle of Elm Street. Brake is facing multiple charges, including resisting arrest. He was taken to the Wayne County Detention Center. A Knox County man is facing charges after he was brought into custody, that also stemming from a police chase. Officers with Corbin PD tried to stop 37-year-old Brandon Smith of Gray as he was driving in a reckless manner. Smith later abandoned his vehicle, which was found by the Laurel County Sheriff's Office. A collaborative effort resulted in Smith being arrested. He was also served with an outstanding warrant and was taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center. In Mingo County, West Virginia, 2 people were arrested after police found they had cash and drugs on them. The Mingo County Sheriff's Office, along with the U.S. 119 Drug Task Force, brought Shonda Varney and Donald Kidwell into custody. They face multiple drug charges and 3 counts of drug conspiracy. Officers also recovered more than $21,000 and more than 100 grams of meth, fentanyl, and heroin. In Laurel County, the Sheriff's Office is asking people to stay vigilant. This comes after threats from the former leader of Hamas calling for a day of jihad. The London Police Department and Sheriff's Office released a joint statement today saying, quote, "The safety of all our residents and visitors to our area is a top priority for both the Laurel County Sheriff's Office and the London Police Department. While we do not have any credible or specific information of any threats to any location in London or Laurel County, we will continue to provide around-the-clock patrol of the city and county and will be monitoring any situation that may occur." They encourage anyone seeing suspicious activity to contact Laurel Dispatch. Community and company leaders gathered in Somerset for the Kentucky Association of Manufacturers Eastern Kentucky briefing to discuss challenges, new practices, and potential opportunities. WYMT's RJ Johnson was there.
Expanding the workforce is something that was mentioned a lot during the CAM briefing while discussing ways to improve advocacy for manufacturers in the region.
The workforce is the #1 issue that we're seeing, but in addition to that today we talked about housing issues, we talked about child care issues, and all of those things that really make up that overall viewpoint of the quality of life and what really economic development is.
Somerset Pulaski Economic Development Authority President and CEO Chris Girdler says he is thankful to speak on a panel and hear from others on what needs to change.
For bringing this group of manufacturers together, bringing a group of educators and community leaders, and talking about what are the needs of our manufacturing base, what desires do they have, what troubles do they see on the horizon.
Kentucky Association of Manufacturers President and CEO Frank Gimley says one thing is certain about the manufacturers and representatives and their needs.
They want to create opportunities for better jobs, more jobs for the citizens and the communities where they're located.
He says they will take everything they learned today and look to implement that in the future.
We'll take that and we'll fold that into our policy proposals to state government and to our congressional delegation. We'll fold it into some of the services that we provide to our member companies.
Gimley says they're all in agreement about being the voice of the current and future manufacturers in the region to ensure them the best. In Somerset, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Gimley says they are also looking for schools to start more programs connecting students to the workforce.
We are tracking some spotty sprinkles across the mountains as we close out your work week on Friday. Here's a live look at First Alert Pinpoint Doppler. A few spotty sprinkles in Bell County, also into Harlan County, into Lee County, Virginia, Campbell and Claiborne County in Tennessee, and possibly a few more spotty sprinkles in Laurel County, also into Whitley County as well. Here's a live look from Pine Mountain at US 119, watching out for some clouds back in the distance. Also, some nice fall colors as well as we are getting closer and closer to the peak of that fall foliage. Those temperatures this evening are above average, upper 70s and lower 80s. We should be at 70, so we are well above average across the mountains into this evening. Now into tonight, we are watching out for moisture to increase across the region, and spotty showers are going to be possible. Those lows back in the lower 60s. I do think most of us are in good shape for high school football, but by late tonight, also into this weekend, rain chances are set to increase and temperatures set to decrease. All those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thanks. With less than 1 month away from Election Day, Governor Andy Beshear and Attorney General Daniel Cameron continue to debate on issues that impact all Kentuckians. Jessica Umbro breaks down the ongoing conversation between the two candidates about crime and public safety.
Now, Daniel Cameron runs from problems. I run towards them.
We will restore law and order to Kentucky.
Attorney General Daniel Cameron taking aim at Governor Andy Beshear's COVID-era policy that lets some incarcerated individuals out of jail during a press conference Friday morning.
I think it's incredibly important that we continue to shed light on this governor's irresponsible actions to let criminals out of jail that ultimately have preyed on our communities and hurt so many families and have caused so many victims.
Governor Beshear defended the move when he was asked about Cameron's comments Friday afternoon.
We did what we had to do to save lives. And listen, a leader's willing to step up even when it's hard to make decisions. If Daniel Cameron had been governor, thousands of more Kentuckians would have died.
Governor Beshear said the policy focused on releasing those who were non-sex offenders with less than 3 months left on their sentence. Daniel Cameron alleges more than half of those released went on to commit additional felonies.
And 52% of all prisoners released by the governor have recommitted felonies, including multiple instances of kidnapping and sodomy.
Governor Beshear citing differing data.
When you do the actual math and not his fake math, less than 10% committed any type of felony during the period in which they would have still been in jail, and only 2 of those were violent.
Both candidates pointing the finger at one another.
Well, it's amazing that Daniel Cameron says crime's out of control when he's the top cop, and he takes zero responsibility for it.
Now, he continues to defend his actions as being compassionate. But where's the compassion for the families and communities ripped apart by the violence of these criminals?
Jessica Umbro, WKYT.
Cameron and Bashir will debate a few times between now and Election Day. The last one will be at our sister station WKYT in Lexington on October 24th. Mountain Association President Peter Hilley says he will retire in 2025. The nonprofit has worked on economic development in eastern Kentucky since 1976. Hilley joined the board in 2003 and has served as president since 2015. Board Chair Robin Gabbard says his work has left an indelible mark on the region. The organization plans to launch a search for the next president.
Well, we are tracking stray showers for week 9 of high school football and more rain chances on the way by this weekend. Those details coming up. Plus,
one Eastern Kentucky animal shelter is working to find forever homes for its furry friends.